Hey guys, Wayndre here, and welcome to a new series on Factorio. We are in 0.15 of the game, and I know I did a stream about this a little bit while ago, but I wanted to do it again. We are using a pre-made map. Now, when I say pre-made, it is a map that I found online, actually from another YouTuber, and I actually liked their start. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to go and completely copy their series. No, I'm going to do my own thing. I do have a few blueprints from them as well, but they're kind of the basic blueprints. You'll see what I mean by blueprints in a little bit. But I wanted to start this game off again. There's a lot of new stuff to it, and I want to do a series on it. Now, this is not going to be a full length, you're going to see everything series. I am going to cut out good chunks of it. And with that being said, I did 4 hours of recording of this. For 3 of the videos, you will hear a voiceover of me. This is what I'm doing. Unfortunately, because my mic didn't actually set up right. So, but basically in this game, we're doing it from vanilla, no mods, no cheats, nothing, none of that shit. We're literally going straight through the game vanilla. Now, the premise of this game is to basically survive as well as build up. The end game stuff is basically build a rocket and send it to space. So the difference between Minecraft, setting up Minecraft and living comfortably, and this game is Minecraft has food and eating and whatnot. This game is literally just build and survive alien attacks. Now, oh, sorry, my throat's a little stuffy after talking for 4 hours now. I have to do it again. But basically, there's aliens on the planet, and they don't like you in certain things very much. So you basically have to survive against that. But the game pretty much is automation. From the get-go, you want to get building or automating things very quickly, from mining to crafting resources to smelting materials. So you don't want to do a lot of mining inside. So I'm getting, right now I'm getting some basic resources up. Coal, getting some wood, because I am going to need those for power poles coming up. The basic power poles are wood and copper coil or copper wire. I don't remember which it's called, because they've actually changed the names several times in this game. But, yeah, just clearing out this stuff, because I am going to use this entire coal patch eventually. Just for power and for processing and smelting, and I think a couple of recipes if I remember the base game correctly. But, just getting these wood and stone out of the way. I don't like to mine stone too much, so that's why you can kind of see me using the big rocks. Those actually in the original game, or previous versions, weren't actually mineable. You actually had to shoot them and destroy them. You never actually got anything for them, which is actually kind of nice now that you can do it, because, well, it gives you a lot of resources, so that's kind of nice. But but yeah, so the game, basically you go through automation, you do everything from robots to conveyor belts to automated inserters, all this different stuff. So just grabbing more and more wood, clearing this area out. It's really hard to do. It's really weird to do a commentary of stuff you've already done. But yeah, so my basic setup here, you can see I'm building another miner and another furnace for more iron production. After that, I kind of go into doing some coal production as well, because I don't like mining. Mining is kind of a pain in the butt. Now, for the big rocks, it's kind of mandatory now, but with this, I just need to craft everything. Now, right there, I remember this part, because I was explaining the fact that there's research. We get the basic stuff like burner mining drills, the furnaces, all that kind of stuff, but for the higher tech levels like automation and certain inserters and all that stuff, we have to actually get research. Now, that's a little bit far out of our reach for right now, but we will eventually get to that. I believe I start doing that in the second episode. So, but yeah, just getting enough coal to kind of keep these furnaces and miners running is kind of the trick right now. So I kind of need to build more. Yeah, this part is kind of tedious because just having to mine everything and do that stuff like this. Yeah, so there's automated miners, there's the power generation. That is actually what I'm working towards getting to, is the automated miners and the power generation, because everything runs on electricity as far as the automated stuff. So getting those up and running quickly, or at least effectively, is kind of needed and important. So, but I need to get coal first, and waiting on the iron to smelt. Yeah, but the aliens are kind of why from the get-go they do the gun and the bullets. Now here I'm showing you the pollution screen. This is actually what shows how your pollution spreads throughout the game, and like your burners, your furnaces, your miners, those, well, the burner miners and the furnaces, they all produce pollution. Well, the aliens don't like that too much. So if you get pollution to cover one of their bases, they will actually come and attack the source. And basically, by attacking the source, they'll attack anything in your base, whether it produces pollution or not. So the early game is very pollution heavy, so it's almost partly a race against time to get the resources you need before the biters start attacking. Because as the game progresses and the pollution level goes up and up and up and up, the biters actually will get stronger. There are actually different versions of them, and they don't like you, pretty much. So now I've set up my coal production, and now I don't actually have to mine anymore. So, which is nice. But the more burner miners I have, the more pollution I have. So I'm kind of at this point, it's not really a full rush to get done. Like, I've played this game for about 3 hours at a time, and I haven't gotten attacked by biters. So you have to get pretty far in before biters actually become a problem, unless you go and mine on their base. Setting up some stone production, but I want to get a higher production of coal first, because I need to be that self-sufficient. Because I really want to get... Actually, no. Do I set up coal? Yeah, no, I set up the stone here. Yeah. So, but getting that set up is actually really useful, because I am going to need stone for the furnaces to set up our smelting units and all of that kind of stuff. Now, as far as our smelting, yeah, I was demonstrating how you can actually turn on and off the view into the furnaces and the box to actually see what's inside of it. You actually press Alt to do that. You can also, when you have an item that's stacked, such as coal or iron ore or stuff like that, you can actually hold Control and right and left click for full stack place and half a stack place. Now, this is a change in the current game that was not in the previous game, is early game blueprints. You used to have to research blueprints fairly later on and use robots to actually build them. Now they've actually given us access to blueprints early game so that we can actually lay out our bases. So if there's a setup that we used to use in a previous game or another game or something we've seen online, which is what I have. All those blueprints are stuff that I've done in the past and new stuff that I found online to kind of give me an idea of how it's supposed to work. But you can actually use them from the get-go to kind of lay out your base, which is a really nice thing to have. Because you'll notice it later on, is it gets really, really monotonous to actually figure out how stuff is supposed to interact and all this kind of stuff. Now I'm showing off how the two miners are actually feeding into each other, so they'll actually not run out of, they shouldn't ever run out of power, because as one finishes its production, it will feed into the next one, and it's just a kind of constant loop. Now any extra that's not burned off will actually accumulate in there, and it's actually For one piece of coal, you actually should get 2 to 3 pieces, I believe it is, that ratio. In the burner miners, at least. So, it might be more than that, but you'll always get a backlog of coal in those. So that there's kind of a good thing to use early game, so you don't have to constantly mine or don't have to manually put it into those miners to get resources out. Now, I'm just trying to build up my miners and my furnaces here to get 4 iron, because iron early game is basically gold. You need it. You can see copper patch over there. Eventually, I will start building basic copper processing, but for right now, I want to concentrate on iron. Get those with fuel in them. And now I just need a little more stone to actually build more furnaces. So, because that's the one pain in the butt about early game tech, is they use furnaces as a crafting resource. So, iron, more coal. So you see that one is empty and now it's full. So now it has power because it's being fed by the others. So you'll see that a lot with that kind of setup, is one will run out of power and then it's waiting basically for the next for the previous burner to fill, or previous miner to fill it. So now I've got my iron set up. So now I just have to wait for them to start processing, because we want to start getting our burners and the steam engines. Yes. So that's what's actually going to produce our power. So getting those set is actually pretty important for the early game, because to get research, we have to actually have some power to do to actually run the research thing. So gonna get some copper here, because I actually need copper for the pump to pump water into the boiler. So that is the first, I think the first item in the game that you actually need copper for is the pump. So now I kind of ran out of coal, so I needed to go get more, as well as some more iron to actually start building stuff. Yeah, I almost walked away without the coal. Yeah, that would be a problem. That's what I need. So I've got some copper there producing. Now I've got 2 of them producing. Usually early game I don't use more than 2 copper, because the problem being is the burner miners, you can't, as far as I know so far, you can't deconstruct them into anything. So having them in your inventory is kind of a pain in the butt. And you kind of just have to have a chest somewhere that has just miscellaneous junk. Or I believe there might also be a trash ability. Now I'm just clearing some area over here, because we are going to need some stuff, because this is actually where we're going to put our I think this is where we're going to put our, yeah, this is the side we put our smelteries and stuff, not smelteries, our furnaces and stuff for actually smelting. Now, I actually do go off, yeah, this is where I was saying, we're going to put our stuff here or up here, but I was actually thinking of putting it down here, so I actually do go and explore that area just to see what's over there. Because that's really the only water that we had at the time, but the site of the future, there's a lake right there. Now, that's the one thing that annoys me a little bit, is that the in-game screen actually sees more than your map. So you can actually see water when your map doesn't. So that I saw the water, so I can't really go horizontal, so I go back down to the corner of the map after I mine a rock, because why not? To actually explore that area and see what is going on. So basically, from here on out in the episode, I'm actually gonna cut the commentary a little bit early because this is a little bit slower for this episode. But I actually basically just go exploring, like as I said, down into that corner and start to produce my my boilers and my steam engines for the power. And I also, I believe, make a few power poles as well. But sorry, I'm gonna leave it here. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed. Hit that like button down below if you want to see more, or if you just like the video in general. So, also leave a comment if you have any hints, tips, tricks, blueprints that I might like or I might find useful that you guys have made or found or whatever. And as always, hit that subscribe button. New videos almost every day now. Schedule has changed a little bit, but there's always new content on my channel. Please go check it out. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Enjoy the rest of the video without my lovely voice, sadly. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.